you going to hear today? Hello, sir. Would you be willing to be our volunteer for the presentation? Just a bit back and forth, is that right? Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so all you need to do is now perfect. Awesome. Thank you very much. All right, so let's get the show started. So, good afternoon to you all, and welcome here to Culloden Battlefield. Now, first, my name is Gavin. This is my excellent colleague Tanya, and we're going to be giving you a brief presentation called Johnny Lobster, what the British soldiers who fight here at Culloden. But first, what about you guys? Where are we all visiting from today? Where's home? Where are we all from? Germany. Devon. Devon, perfect. From Germany? Whereabouts in Germany, good sir? Ah, excellent. So not near Hanover, excellent. One day we'll get there. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we want to switch it up, and you're going to be role-playing as the fine people of Great Britain. I'm a British Army recruitment sergeant. It's my mission to travel the land recruiting soldiers to join the army. Now, there are a few conditions I have to obey. I am not allowed to recruit any Catholics, any people who are an apprentice or a farmhand or a labourer. They're vital to the country's economic base if they remain where they are. I'm not allowed to recruit anyone who's physically lame, physically damaged, or anyone who's an idiot. So, those are the rules on who I can and cannot recruit. But as a British Army recruitment sergeant, my monthly pay goes up depending on how many soldiers I recruit to the army. So do you think I'm going to obey all of those limits and only recruit good men to the army? Of course not! So there'll be plenty of Catholics, plenty of idiots, plenty of men who are physically disabled who split through and get into the army regardless. I need some extra cash. Now, another thing. I am only supposed to recruit genuine volunteers. The British Army prides itself on being the only army in your time which is made of 100% of genuine volunteers. Why the air quotes? Because not everybody actually wants to be here. Because as a recruitment sergeant, again, my pay goes up every month depending on how many soldiers I get in the army. So do you think every single one of those soldiers is going to be a genuine volunteer? Of course not. I'm going to use some dubious methods to get men to join the army. Now, I can't do what the British Navy does, which is get you so drunk you wake up on another ship in the Caribbean, you're in the Navy the rest of your life. What I can do is buy you a drink. And why would you refuse a free drink? Nothing suspicious here, is there? So you start to drink it, and all of a sudden you start to choke on something. You spit it out. What is it? Oh, it's a coin. It's a coin. It's not just any coin. It's the King's shilling, which by British law, as soon as the King's shilling appears in your hand, you are now in the army. Thank you very much for coming with me. So, that is why today glasses have a clear bottom. So men could see and check if there was a coin and refuse to drink. So another way I might get someone to join the army is, I might go up to a random civilian I like to look over in the street and pass him an envelope to open. Because who would be foolish enough to accept an envelope from someone they just met? Would you like to open that, sir, and show the audience what's inside? Remember, I know what's in there. Oh, is that the King's shilling by any chance? You're in the army, sir. Come on up. Welcome to His Majesty's Army. Welcome to the army, sir. Thank you very much. I'll take that. And welcome to the army. So, let's discuss your pay. Now, as a willing volunteer, risking your life, having a family to support, how much would you like to get paid, sir? Enough. Enough? Well, in the modern day age, we have workers' rights, workers' unions. This man could negotiate a salary, health care, dental care, benefits, holidays. Do you think in the 1700s, we, the British Army, are going to even entertain the idea of negotiating with this man? Of course not. He is going to get paid what we want, and he's going to like it. 4 of these a day, or 8 pence. How does that sound to you, sir? Not enough. Well, ladies and gentlemen, is he missing something? A uniform! How are we going to pay for that, I wonder? Oh, I know! Out of his wages! He needs a weapon! How are we going to pay for that? Out of his wages. He needs room and board, food! How are we going to pay for that, chorus? Out of his wages, exactly. Thank you very much. So at the end of the day, you're left with just 1 of these a day, or 2 pence. How does that sound for you, sir? It's as good as you're going to get. He's learning quick. Now, it's actually not that bad a wage. It's about the same as an average farmhand or an apprentice would earn at the time. You can buy him about 16 pints of beer down the pub every night. It's not too bad. And plus, in this unstable economic time in the 1700s, he's got job security because he's in the army for life. There's only two ways out of the British Army at this time. One is to die, and one is to be so horribly wounded you're no longer of use to us. But depending on how bad you're wounded, you may or may not get a pension. But, so let's cheer you up, sir, because I'm thinking you're not really enjoying the time at the moment. Let's introduce you to your uniform. This bright red coat. Now, the standard weapon uniform for every British soldier is a bright red coat, with different coloured facings depending on what regiment they are. This one's yellow because this belongs to a regiment known as Monroe's, one of the regiments that fought here at the Battle of Culloden. Now, having a look at this bright red coat, what do you think his nickname as a British Army soldier might be wearing this bright red coat? Red coat? Do you all think red coat? Now, how many Americans do we have with us today? It's actually the Americans who coined the term red coat during the American War of Independence. That war is fought in the 1770s. Culloden is fought in the 1740s, 30 years before. The nickname red coat doesn't yet exist. At the time, British soldiers were called Johnny Lobsters, or lobster backs. Why lobster backs? Will become apparent in a moment. Now, sir, if you're all right with it, please put your hand in there and feel the weight. How heavy is this? It's very, very heavy. And it's only about half of his uniform. He's also going to have a waistcoat under there as well. It's very thick, very woolen material. It's very heavy. And if he's stationed here in Scotland, what does it love to do in Scotland? It loves to rain. What is going to happen to that material in the rain? It's going to get even heavier. Now, it doesn't matter where this man is stationed in the world, be it the freezing, raining cold of the Highlands, or the nice tropical weather of the Caribbean, he has to wear this uniform at all times by military law, or he's going to be severely punished if he ever dares to take it off. So that's why many British soldiers would actually mutiny, try to desert if they found out they were going to the Caribbean, because the Caribbean was nicknamed Dead Island. Around 90% of regiments dying from disease when they're out there. But lucky for you, sir, you're being stationed to the Highlands in Scotland. Unluckily for you, there's a rebellion going on right now. So you're going to have to deal with that. So he's going to need a weapon. So, here we go, sir. Your weapon, the Brown Bess flintlock musket. So called a flintlock because of the piece of flint right there. Now, this is nice and simple, easy to use. You can teach a man to fire in about 13 minutes. So, pay attention, sir, it's going to save your life. All you're going to need is the musket itself and one of these. This is a pre-made gun cartridge. Now, ladies, it's how you're going to earn your keep. Officially, British soldiers not allowed to get married. Unofficially, that wife can stay around as long as she proves herself useful, by making up 18 of these every single night for her husband. It's also a great way of supplementing the family income, because she will get paid for every single one of these she makes, 1 pence for every single one. But she has the potential to make 18 pence. He only earns 2 pence a day. So the woman really becomes the breadwinner of the family if she manages to make up all 18. Now inside this cartridge will be gunpowder and musket ball. The British Army is the first to really adopt cartridges, while everybody else uses separate containers for musket balls and gunpowder, so it actually saves you time on the battlefield. So, all you need to do is take your cartridge, open up your pan here, or your frizzen, tear it open with your teeth, take the musket ball in between your teeth, hence the phrase bite the bullet, and pour in some gunpowder. Close up the pan, pull your hammer back to half-cocked. Remember the expression going half-cocked? That's where it comes from. Pour the rest of your powder down the barrel, spit your musket ball down, and then take out your ramrod, or your rammer. Now, who is here because they have seen a show called Outlander? Who has seen a movie called The Patriot? Well, Hollywood, have you believe that soldiers did this when reloading? Go absolutely crazy. Now, that may look nice in the movies, but that is made out of steel. That is a metal barrel. I have just poured explosives down here. Why is this? A very bad idea. Because it's gonna spark and go kaboom. Exactly. Look where it's pointing. Terrible plan. So, simple 1, 2. If you're feeling extra safe, 1, 2. Also, according to the manuals, British soldiers were trained to do all that just using their pinky and their thumb. Because that way, if it does go off, you only lose your pinky and your thumb. Now, they are supposed to return the ramrod into that small little hole there underneath the barrel. But look how small that is. And imagine me trying to fiddle away, trying to put it back in at the best of times. Never mind there's 5,000 angry Jacobites running towards me. So, what they're going to do to save time, the British soldiers are going to disobey the manuals and ram it in the ground next to them. That way, if they lose their musket, it also acts as a good backup weapon. So, once you're ready, you pull the hammer here back to fully cocked, and the gun is now primed and ready to fire. You take aim. Do not worry, it is not loaded. There'll be no lawsuits here today. When I pull the trigger, watch the piece of flint. It flies forward, it catches the pan there, it sparks it, ignites the gunpowder. Around 3 seconds later, the gun will go off. In theory, it might go off 1 second, it might go off 10 seconds later. And it's not very accurate. There is no rifling in this barrel, which means the musket ball does not spin. It simply flies and drops. And there's no recoil built into the weapon. So when I pull the trigger, it's going to fly back up in the air. So it's a question of aiming at you and probably hitting you. But with 800 men of us all firing at once, chances are you're going to hit something. So, as our amazing new recruit, sir, how fast do you think you can do all that? Well, very. Let's guess. 20, that's not too bad. 20 seconds is pretty close. Because a British soldier is expected to do all of that in 18 seconds. 3 rounds a minute. They are the fastest in Europe at the time. Now, he's pretty good. He's got 20 seconds, but we can improve that. So, how are we going to get around improving that then? Bit of tough love. This is called the cat of nine tails. So let's say our excellent recruit here was bad. I'm going to match 1 round a minute. I would take him aside. I would strip him bare to his waist. I would tie him to a post, and I would use this to whip him in the back 50 times every single day until he gets it right. Encouraged? Yeah. Because on the end of this, depending on the mood of the sergeant who's whipping you, might be metal talons or it might be doused in salt. It's going to get inside your wound and be very, very stingy. Now, ever heard the expression cat got your tongue? This is where it comes from, the cat of nine tails. Because British soldiers are not allowed to scream out while they're being whipped. They just show no pain, no emotion. If they do so, they get whipped an extra 10 times. They have to be completely stoic. British Army discipline is absolutely brutal. So, sir, based off your amazing pay, your amazing conditions, how are you enjoying life in the British Army?
That's great.
Great. You're not even considering of, I don't know, deserting? Maybe. Interesting. So that brings me to a very important point. Many British soldiers are going to desert from the British Army to join the Jacobites throughout the war. Some over issues such as pay and conditions, other because either politically or religiously they believe in the Jacobite cause. Around 200 of those former British soldiers will fight here at Culloden on the Jacobite side, still wearing their bright red uniforms. I think, sir, that is a cry for you to stay loyal to you. So, luckily though, we have a patriot here, and he stayed loyal to the British government. Unfortunately for you, sir, you've picked a terrible time to join the army, because you have lost every single battle to the Jacobites so far. So, great people of Great Britain, do you feel safe and protected? No. So, we're going to introduce some new tactics. We're going to help the British Army keep you safe from the Jacobites. Now, to do this, I'm going to need one more willing volunteer to come out and join us. Just one more. What a bunch of patriots you are. Well, I thought we might hit this little snag, and that's not a problem, because, never mind, the patriots.
It's showing.
Excellent. Come up. come up, sir. Come up. Welcome to the army. Now, let's talk about what this new recruit is going to get. Because the British Army did run into some recruitment problems during the war. So, they didn't always have a willing volunteer such as this one. So they had to offer incentives. 5 months extra pay up front as a signing on bonus. And he only has to remain in the army for the duration of the rebellion. If it ends next year, he can leave next year. If it ends tomorrow, he can leave tomorrow. You, sir, though, you joined before, so you have to stay with us for life. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you your 2 excellent British soldiers. Do you feel safe? Right. Give me our hand. Yep. Excellent. So,
are you doing the Highland?
No, I'll do that in bed. So, Tanya is going to be role-playing as a Jacobite Highland warrior. And we are going to demonstrate what usually happens when we go up against one. Now, the British line is usually organised into something called platoons. A platoon being a group of around 30 men. So this means one platoon after another is going to fire. First platoon, all 30 men together. Then the second platoon, all 30 men together. Then the third platoon, the fourth platoon, so on and so far. This means there's always somebody down the line firing. But this maneuver proves too complicated, too slow against the Jacobites who favour very aggressive tactics. So we need to maximize our firepower, our Jacobite killing power, before they hit us. So, what we're going to do is organize ourselves into a line of 3. So, sir, if you'd like to stand here for me. And then, sir, you come and stand in front.
Yeah, that's better. You get in front.
Now, we're arranged in 3 ranks, one man behind the other. So everyone point your rifles forward. Ladies and gentlemen, do you see the problem? If I was given the order to fire, what happens to me? I get shot in the back of the head. So, terrible plan. So what the front rank is going to do is they're going to kneel down. So the man behind me is a clear line of fire. And the third man, take one step to your right, sir. We've all got a clear line of fire. Now, we're going to fire once after the other. And remember, it takes a British soldier 18 seconds to fire and reload his weapon. What's 18 divided by 3? 6. Means every 6 seconds one of us is going to be firing across the field into the Jacobites, who have about 500 to 600 meters to run through a knee-deep ball. How fast do you reckon you could do that? With us firing at you every 6 seconds. Exactly. Rapid fire at the time. But clearly we're not very good shots because Canada is still alive. So we're going to have to deal with her in close combat. So, here's what we're going to do. We're now going to represent the front line. So you go stand there on my right, sir, and you stand here on my left. Now, as Tanya is running towards us, coming in with her broadsword and her targe, what do you think, as British soldiers, our eyes are going to be on? The big broadsword. Because we think that the danger's coming from. We're wrong. What will happen? So, muskets out, guys. Point towards Tanya. Now, on the end of our muskets, we'll have a bayonet used for self-defense. Watch what usually happens. So I am trained to defend myself. I lunge forward, gets knocked aside, and oh, surprise! There's a dirk. A dagger. Tanya's just slit my throat. On the follow through, she carries on and cuts down the man behind me. And the third man, well, he's halfway down the road running for his life. And that's a Highland charge. It's fast, overwhelming, and it hits hard. So, my merry men,
Yes.
do you think we can stop her?
Of course, sir.
How do you reckon we can do it with her? No, there is a way. There is a way. Miss Tanya, if you'd like to demonstrate again, go for your swing. Look at her right side, ladies and gentlemen. It's completely and utterly exposed. Just give us a wee twirl, Tanya. Look at the right side, completely and utterly exposed. Now the British soldiers noticed this too, and their commander, Duke of Cumberland, introduced a new tactic. So what we're going to do, guys, is point our muskets forward and then angle them to the right. So now you're covering me. So as Tanya runs in on this man here, I get my revenge, and I save his life. And I've just killed Tanya, and I've saved your life.
Oh, thank you.
So, you are no longer responsible for your life, sir. I am. I'm no longer responsible for mine. You are, and... Oh dear. Don't worry, sir. We'll write a letter of condolence to your family. Honor your sacrifice. Now, This is a new bayonet drill that the British Army adopts and practices for nearly 2 months straight before this battle. Now, there is a common misconception, but the Jacobites were defeated as soon as a professional veteran army came up to face them with superior firepower. Not the case. This very same British army that fights here at Culloden ran away from the Highland Charge a mere 2 months before at the Battle of Falkirk. So why the change? Because of that new bayonet drill. These men work and work and work on it for nearly 2 months straight. Now, in theory, it's a pretty solid idea. But in practice, do you think the Jacobites are going to be stupid enough to run up one at a time waiting to get stabbed like a lion at Domino's? Of course not. But what this drill does, let me ask you a question. Sir, if you knew for a fact that me and this great man here were halfway down the road by the time the Jacobites hit you, would you be standing your ground? Of course not. Let me ask you, sir. If you knew for a fact that I wasn't going anywhere, and no matter what came, I was going to save your life, would you stand your ground?
I'd try, yes.
Exactly. It's a psychological trick. The British soldiers completely and utterly trust one another. They know, but the only way to get through this is to work together as a team. Ladies and gentlemen, what is the bigger number? 5 or 1? You would think 5. 5 great individual Highlanders, but versus 1 solid unit of British soldiers all working together? Exactly. For this very reason, the British soldiers knowing but go one-on-one, death sentence. Run away, you're probably going to die too. The only way you're going to get through this is working together as a team, all covering each other. And for that very reason, the British soldiers, for the first time ever, are able to meet the Highland Charge, hold it, and beat it, thus winning the Battle of Culloden. So, that completes our presentation, and thank you to our great volunteers. Ladies and gentlemen, while I still have you here, a few things to point out. Just round the corner there is our immersion theatre. It's a 4-minute 360 experience. It's a great way to get a sense of how terrifying for the British soldiers the Highland Charge actually would be to face. Now, if you have children or have sensory issues, I don't recommend it. Otherwise, while it's very violent and very graphic, it's a great way to get a sense of how terrifying this battle was to fight in. Otherwise today, guys, if you have any questions about what you've just seen, do come and ask me or myself or Tanya. We'll do our best to answer them. But the best thing you guys can do today, and I highly recommend this if you have the time, is to go one of our battlefield tours. Now, there's one more remaining today, about 15 minutes at 3 o'clock, leaving from the back doors here. It should last around 45 minutes. You're going to be in the hands of one of our best guides, Gregor. He's one of our very best. Take you on the field and you have a great time with him. So you want to go on that tour, please gather up at the back doors for Gregor at 3 o'clock. Otherwise, thank you. Take your audience.